that big amount of tons of powder, how do you think those gotten into the community or in South Africa as a whole?
I was speaking about people who we have profiled and who we arrest for powder.
No, sorry, stay with me, sir. Stay with me. I'm talking about, I mean, I don't know if I'm mistaken. So the big amount of the powder that is creating some sort of epidemic in South Africa, how does this get into the community? I mean, you being a police officer, you should be aware. How?
Let me try to repeat what you say because I don't understand you.
Okay, I can rephrase my question if you... I'm talking about, I mean, I've heard some people saying some people just get a few kilos of powder and jump over the fence. But if we're talking about epidemic, that the big business of powder and people are moving it in, and how does that work? How do they manage to get that amount of powder into the country without either police officer or immigration officer knew anything about it? How?
Yeah, you see, when powder gets into the country, we have realized that they are corrupt officials who make those contrabands and consignment to get through. For example, the biggest value chain of cocaine gets into the country through the Limbombo border post, which is the border between South Africa and Mozambique. And that powder gets through conveyed by the Pakistanis and not by Nigerians. There is people who have taken advantage of the collapse of the rule of law in South Africa, and they are peddling powder like it's nobody's business. But when coming to the number, the majority of people peddling in powder, the Nigerians are up there. They are number one. If you can just listen on the radio that somebody has been arrested for powder, 9 out of 10 times it will be a Nigerian arrested. So I don't know if the Nigerians are the runners or the producers or whatever, but the majority of people arrested for powder are Nigerians, and they've built a very bad reputation for themselves. And I'm not the only one.
Thank you. I think I'm okay with that. Let me go to the next question. That's fine. Now, again, so if you as an ex-police officer know the route at which these powders are getting in, and you said you have an organization that is tackling all these sort of problems, so then will it be a smart thing to do to disrupt that route instead of doing other things? I mean, I just want to know how it works.
I told you that officials are involved.
You
remember
Frank
Nabolisa? You remember Frank Nabolisa?
No, I don't live in South Africa, sir. I'm just
yeah, but okay, no, I assume that you are familiar with our news here. But
no,
there is a gentleman called Frank Nabolisa. He's a Nigerian. He was arrested together with the wife of the Minister of Intelligence. They were arrested with a large consignment of drugs, of powder. They are now doing time in jail. Nabolisa is in Hoshimampuru prison, and the other lady is in Durban prison. So the officials are complicit in drug dealing. And this woman is a wife of a minister of intelligence.
Use powder.
Sorry.
I think I'm okay with that. You earlier said the officials are involved, and you did mention the president earlier. Are you accusing your president of committing crimes in South Africa?
Yes, we reject that man as our president. Insofar as we are concerned as South Africans, the seat of the presidency is vacant. We don't have a president.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. I will stop here for a second, guys. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think the next person I'm not even sure anymore. So we've had Commander Josh and Achilles put forward this question. I think it should be Plenty X. I think Plenty X should go for a submission. Thank you. 3 minutes.
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right.
Guys, let's tap to 15K. Let's tap, guys. Let's tap and let's have you. Plenty X, you can go for it.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity to talk on your platform. I'm going to address my question to Commander Josh. Since you are in law enforcement, I want to know, would you describe South Africa as a high crime society?
Look, South Africa is the highest crime-infested country in the world because there is so many unaccounted for people. There's so many illegal immigrants. There's so many, and there's so many.
I'm just going to go with that. Actually, on the World Population Review, South Africa is listed as the fifth high crime country in the world, the fifth in the world. So I'll go with that you have high crime in South Africa. Now, my question to you will be, immigrants of any type, they're only about 4% of the population in South Africa. 4%. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So, immigrants are only 4% of the total population in South Africa. And if you look at the crime rates of ordinary South Africans,
Just your source. State your source. Don't just state a percentage. State your source.
just Google. You have Google, right? ChatGPT Google. Just Google it. I just Googled it before I started talking. Don't cut me off. Let me talk. Google it. Just don't know. Come on.
Let's allow him to.
Allow me. I'm on my time.
Then we can debunk afterwards.
Immigrants are only 4% of your population. How would you say, in all honesty, that immigrants are the one committing crime in South Africa? How would you say that? Because the majority of the people, about 96%, are responsible for most crime. So you have no way of knowing that immigrants are the one committing crime.
Can I firstly tell you that immigrants do not constitute 4% of...
Sir, do you have ChatGPT or Google? Just Google it right as I'm talking to you. Google it. Immigrants have only 4% of your population in South Africa. You are 64 million, and immigrants are just 4%.
Those who are legal.
No, I'm talking of immigrants of all types. Ma'am. Immigrants of all types.
Please,
let me finish.
Please, more.
Let me finish. I'm on my time. Immigrants of all types are just 4% of your population. How can you say, knowing that South Africa is a high crime society, how can you say immigrants are responsible for majority of the crime? 4% cannot be responsible for majority of the crime. That's where I'm going.
Okay, let me answer you.
Question for Plenty X. Does anyone have a question?
But this question is directed to me.
Okay, Plenty X, are you directing the question to Commander Josh? Plenty X,
Yes, sir.
are you putting the question forward to Commander Josh? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Commander Josh, please go for it.
Thank you. Yeah, firstly, you've got our South African statistics very, very wrong. South Africans, firstly, they are not 64 million or 62 million. South Africans are 48 million. And let me tell you why I'm saying that. If you go to the national...
What's your source, sir? What is your source, sir?
I'm saying my source.
Okay.
I did not interfere with you.
All right. Okay, sir.
Look, in South Africa, there is a register for the population, which is based in Brits, the north of Pretoria. When you check the balance on that population register, minus people who are deceased, you get 48 million. The 48 million are your South Africans who are documented, who have got birth certificates and stuff like that. When the Statistician General came up with a number of 62 million, he did not only count South Africans who are citizens, he also counted people who are illegal immigrants, people who are visitors, people who are just randomly in the country, because that was his mandate. The parliament mandated him to count everyone who is in the country, whether legally or illegally. So after his population count, he came to 62 million. Now, when you minus 48 million from 62 million, you get 14 million people. Now, who are those 14 million people? Because you cannot tell me that the 14 million are your undocumented South Africans. It cannot be. There is always an incentive on a South African to be documented, because we get documented for our social grants, for our school fees, for many things. There's a lot of advantages for a South African to be documented. So it cannot be that 14 million are undocumented people. So the safe assumption you can make is that the 14 million is your illegal immigrants. And it doesn't end up there. When the Statistician General produced his statistics, he was contradicted by certain two demographers.
40 million illegal immigrants?
Pardon me?
Are you saying 40 million illegal immigrants?
No, 14.
40 million.
14, yeah.
Are you saying, Commander Josh, are you saying that the 14 million people are illegal immigrants? That was a question. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and I'm about to shock you even.
People are not even up to 1 million in South Africa.
Yeah, let's let him finish Plenty X so we can debunk. Yeah, let's Commander Josh proceed.
If you read the Sunday Times Business Times of the 22nd of August 2024, there is two statisticians from the University of Cape Town. They contradict the statistics by the Statistician General. They say to him, South Africans, or rather people in South Africa, are not 62 million. They are rather 95 million or 100 million. They tell him that you have undercounted the population by 35%. And they show him proof. And when they confront, you can read that newspaper. When they confronted him with these numbers, he accepted that he has done an undercounting. Meaning that in South Africa, there is more than 50 million unaccounted for people living here. They took account of consumption of basic foodstuffs, and that got them the number of people who are living here. They took the carbon footprint. So when you say that there is 4 million
please, sorry commander, Pakumzi, please, is there anyone who is willing to volunteer so that Moabi can come up? Moabi is South African.
Oh, I can do that.
Okay, thank you, One Face. Please, Pakumzi, can you please bring Moabi up, please, so that we'll have an even somebody who is living there in South Africa, please. Moabi, please request. Commander has gone down.
Okay, Moabi is not. Okay, I can see him. I can see Moabi.
His account is restricted.
Oh, why did he leave?
Yeah, he ran away.
Because I got more questions for him, to be honest. Because